Okay, it says you are live. I'm not sure if anybody's here, if I'm talking to myself, but that's okay. It won't be the first time, won't be the last time. Go live, screen share. Hello, if somebody's here, just type in the chat. Okay, so let's see where we are. I was actually out away from the desk for a little while, and I saw there was some news. Bessenet said that the China deal will take longer than people had anticipated, or however we phrase it, which again is not a shock. Let's kind of make this okay. So after that initial move and the VIX spike and all that headline algo driven nonsense, we're kind of back in the same range that we've been in for these last few days, retesting that 40 area with 50 being the clear target. I'm just going to take a look at my morning plan and my daily note and the roadmap that I wrote up this morning. Now let me just remind myself of where the structures are myself. So the weekly straddle, 5907 was all the way down there, and 6050. Well, that doesn't look right. Although that, excuse me, that's yeah, that was the top of the weekly straddle. The top of the weekly straddle was 6190. Here, let me find the chart. Here's the weekly straddle range right here. Don't have to guess. Let's zoom in so we can see it. Here's the weekly straddle. And on Friday, it'll print another one. So here was the bottom of the weekly straddle. Here was the top. Last week, we respected it, poked our head above it for a second. The week before, we kind of closed above it. Well, we're going to have funny stuff because of the way we bounced. But for now, the weekly straddles are a good reference point. So 1692 was the top of the straddle range. Will we get there? I don't know. So let me get back to the chart. And we have this whole battle zone here yesterday. You see, I have lots of lines on my chart here because we have lots of things going on. We have reaction level here, the inflection point down at 35. The overnight high last night was right around here. The week to date high yesterday was right up here. So we have all this technical stuff, call it resistance overhead. Of course, we had the pump when the numbers came out, and that's basically volatility repricing. Once the unknown becomes known, once the volatility comes out of the CPI report and it was bullish or it was better than expected or whatever it is, I'm not a macro bro. Um, Market makers had to rehedge, rebalance, and then we had the market unopen nonsense. And now we're kind of in this range. Then we had some headline stuff, and now we're caught right in this range. Now let me turn to positioning for a minute. So I'm looking at my daily plan or at my roadmap. Is anybody here? Looks like I'm talking to myself. Let me send the invite link to my brother. Excuse me, everybody. Oh, somebody's here. Hey, Brad. Good. At least I got somebody here. And actually, Brad made an observation about 60-20 in the chat, and we'll get to that too. It turns out that there's also gamma stuff there. And so rather than, so the morning plan was if over 60/20, which we were, to grind up to the 60/35/40 area where we have this inflection point kind of action. Uh, if we break 60/20, then the path would have been open to 6,000, but we never broke it. That overnight low held. And if we go over 60/75, of course, then we have, we kind of went up there for a minute, and then we kind of have all these levels up here. Let me pull up options depth. Oh, we have the 20-year auction coming up in 8 minutes, so we can watch the algos go nuts together. Excuse me, doing that. Let me mute the TV in the background. Mike Santoli's midday word. Okay. And here we go back up. I got a fly centered. I think it's a 50, 60, 70. I forgot what it is. I'll look at that in a minute. I'm not really worried about it. It's a small one. So let's take a look at options depth and kind of see where we are. Okay. So starting from the morning, what were we looking at? What am I looking at now? Here's all the market makers short, market maker long, customer short support in that 60/30 area that's been that basically held. Here's a customer long put at 60/20, so that's the potential magnet. Market maker short gamma, potential magnet, but there's stuff right here at 60, 25, and 30 that's acting as support. So I would expect that to hold. Then we're caught between these two zones as we approach 50 stall round number. As we move back, buyers, the hedging flows of buying come in between. When you have market makers long gamma, it's mean reverting both on the way up and down. So what that means is as we go up, let's just say to this level, they sell because they're too long. And as we go down, then they have to buy back because they're too short. So it's the strength of the levels. And this is pretty strong between these two that as we go down, they have to buy. As we go up to a certain point, they have to sell. But this is kind of pulling us up. So we have this fly-like structure 40 stuck in the middle as of right now. We had these customer long calls at 60/90. Somebody came in at the end of the day and bought these calls. I'll look in a minute and see if those calls are still there. I guess they are. We had some longs at 60/80. We have all this positive gamma up here between 50 and 70. So going to kind of be a tough road to hoe to get through this today. Looking at the heat map, we see this kind of target zone. So what's that we're looking at? That's this right here. That's this cluster of market maker shorts. Kind of magnetic. So we have this magnet here. We have support here. We have this whole area here to just kind of float around in. And you can see it's kind of thin over here. Let me make sure that I have this. And then we'll come with possible trading ideas. Okay, that's position number. In a minute, we'll look at gamma, which will kind of show us a little bit more clearly the strength of this response. So 60/90 customer long is still there. So I don't know what that was all about. None of my business. We have customer long puts here at 60/20. That's what that potential magnet is. Here's the short stuff that's underneath it. Short customer short to the left side. All the sold options over there. So this is kind of the only target down to this area. And here's the full market maker book. So what does this tell me is going on? Nothing. We're stuck. We're stuck. That's what it's telling me. It's a long-winded way of saying we're stuck. Hey, Victoria, let me pull the chart back up. And you see, we have a lot of lines. These are reaction zones. And and this is real similar price action to what we had yesterday, where we got caught between these main strikes. Let me get back there. We're caught just what I was talking about before. Support, quote unquote, or buying steps up here, selling comes in up here. Here's kind of magnet attracted to it either way, and that's kind of the setup for now. Can we break out of this range? Of course, of course. Let's switch gears for a second, and let's take a. Okay, let's keep the 6100 a little bit above it in view. Now let's keep a little bit below the 6,000 round number. So there's kind of the path of least resistance right here in that 40-ish area. Not a lot of color means not a lot of hedging response, but the blue is broadly supportive. Now let's look at charm. This is how the options are going to decay and where it's going to drive us. And again, let's look at, and we went over this in the morning. So if over the 60, whatever it is, 60-40 area, that'll force buying, and we come up into this area. But if under it, we get trapped below it, depending how these deltas, this is negative delta. If it goes down to a -1 delta, or as it gets deeper in the money, market makers have to keep selling. So here's one area, potential pin right in this 25 area. Here's another area, potential pin in the 40-ish to 60-ish area. I have my fly centered right around here somewhere. I think, I don't remember what I sold. I'll look a little later. And then we have the outside influence over here. Now we have FOMC, we're not FOMC. We have the bond market coming up in a few minutes, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out. So, but we can expect the algo wiggles. So just for fun, what I'm going to do, I think, which is the one does this have my VIX on it? No, I don't want to share. I want to share the screen with the VIX. Hold on. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Let's go window maybe. Okay, maybe challenging myself technically to do this. Oh, I know how to do it. Excuse me, folks, technical difficulty. We'll do it this way. We'll do it the easy way. I'm going to do this. I'm going to minimize that. And now you should be able to see my screen over here where I've got VIX. So I want to see how how VIX acts with the bond auction. So far, I don't see anything. That's kind of surprising. Do I have my times right? Not an algo in sight. Well, I guess it wasn't bad because I don't see any reaction, which kind of puts us right to the 60-50 as a potential area to drift up to. Let me go back to the StreamYard. Let me change my screen. Yeah, 10-year coming. I don't see any reaction. Do you see what the I don't see anything on Twitter. I'm looking at the 10-year on my either my chart is frozen or something. Oh, looks like I closed my fly. Yeah, no, still live data. I put my fly in at a price to make whatever percent it was, and it closed, so that's okay. I can always reposition. Okay, here we go. Okay, that was ring, that was put spread. So if you were watching in the morning, I put in puts at a wish price at different prices. I think I sold the 59.95s or 90s, whatever. I put them in at 40, 45, 50, 55, and 60 cents. They all filled. I put in like 15 or 20 cents to buy them back. They're all gone, and that's that. And now we're kind of stuck here. Anybody have see the results for the bond auction here? Let me go on my other computer. Yeah, it's over 65, 35. Yeah, 35, 40. 40 is still the sticky point. Now we're going up to 50. Now we can enter the void. Okay, I see yields itching down. 50, nice round number. And so this sell-off was whatever was Bessenet, whatever, saying that the China deal is going to take longer. VIX is below 60, 15, 16.5. Looks like VIX is going to have a sweet 16 party. That doesn't show good on that. Let's look at SPX. This is mentor Q's stuff. Update the script. This updates different points throughout the day. And we see that 60-60 area that I had targeted as kind of the top of the zone. 50 round number natural pin. But these folks here, I don't see my brother. He's in no show. How many people are watching on YouTube, Brad or Victoria? I'm curious. See, now we're stalling right in this 50 thing. Now, what's hanging us up here at 50? Must be puts over there. 21 watching. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm going to turn this to customers' positions. I want to see in a more granular way what's going on at. So now I'm going to see puts. Let's see calls. Okay, so so that's what the market maker long is. Someone sold the 60-55 puts. What's going on the call side? So if it's puts and calls and the deltas kind of balance out, then we could get a void. Then okay, so let's see. Let me get rid of the net. Yeah, so this is how it nets out. So we have short 60-50 calls, 60-55 puts, long these calls. So that's why we have that kind of hollow area in here for price to move around in. I don't know, you just kind of have to visualize the shape. That's what I do, and kind of how we should respond to that. Now I'm going to change this to gamma rather than position number so we see the strength of the response. Where's price? There it is. Okay, so as I was saying, all the countervailing forces happened 7 minutes ago. Yeah, it was good. I see that. I mean, it wasn't bad. We're going up, so I mean, it wasn't good enough to make the market go up, 50 points, but it wasn't bad enough to make us tank. So thank you for that. And so now we're in this dead zone. This is a nice, easy parking zone. And that's really what's going on. I don't know where if my brother's coming or not. What to do is scalping. He was doing scalping before. I'm going to also put this link in there. See if any of my buddies want to come. Everyone. As you can see, this is not an overly professional. This is a little server where this is not a Discord. This is not a server for a service, or whatever. That's just kind of where I hang out. And here we go. Ye of little faith. Now, if we look at this, at the card that I made in the morning, that actually my buddy Nanda made. I don't know why. I don't think strong pain is the right. Compression. That's not really correct verbiage, but I'll let it slide. So the 60-50 zone, and so the morning plan was if over 60-20, 60-35 to 40 was one range. You have to kind of mentally range them up. Where we are now, we're here, so then it's this range up to here, this range up to here, this range up to here. So I'm going to ask her to arrange it up right now. Let me stop screen share. Let me share something else. Let's take a look at, we'll do this. We'll take a look at the option chain. Okay. While I'm texting her, we could look for where we don't need open interest right now. We need volume. Look where the action is, right? The 60/50, of course. Where's our deltas? That 60/90 long call still has some juice to it. So we have charm, decay from this, potentially pushing us down or dragging us up if we should move up. We have decay from 60/20 from these deltas here pushing us up. So that's kind of, you look at your 25 to 20 delta range over under to see what the decay is going to be at the end of the day. Let me tell Nanda to shift the new card. And my subscribers get the stuff in the morning, get the card and all that sort of thing. All right, let's go back to the chain. So here's I don't know if you could see it. Here's the trades that I did in the morning. I put these in while I was doing the morning broadcast. Just put these in. They didn't fill right away. Whenever they filled, they filled. Put in a buy to close at 15 cents, and they're gone. That's all I care about. These are the small trades. I did larger ones. So where are we now? That's ancient history. What have you done for me lately? Now here's one DTE. What does it mean to enter the 60/50 void? Okay, good question. And let me talk about what that means. So when I say void, the simplest way to think of it is there's no particular hedging response required from the market makers. So they don't have to sell, they don't have to buy. So it's kind of a neutralish zone. So price is a little freer to move, but also if we get there and if they're selling from above and buying from below, then that's where we stall. But if we look here, we got a little stuff pulling us down over here. So, okay, now gamma shifted to positive here. It's not quite as much of a void anymore. So the void, just think of it as the shape of the distribution. I don't know if that's helpful or not. Did that help? Did that help explain it? If not, ask another question, please. So by void, I mean an area where there's not as much of a market maker hedging response required. Since I'm using market maker hedging response as to determine where I think prices are going to go, if there's a void, no puts or calls that need to be hedged or they balance out, then we can just kind of stick there. As of right now, it's no longer a void. Stuff moves. So it's kind of stally over here. And if you see this structure here, stall, magnet, support from down here, buying flows, all this stuff down here, up here decaying, will become more prominent later in the day. And there's that 60/20 that we spoke about. And Brad mentioned 60/20 as a level earlier in the chat. So what I want to do now, I want to do what I'm going to do now. If I weren't broadcasting live, I'd be doing this right now anyway. Oh, wait, I have an extra expiry here. That's why it doesn't look right. I don't know if that's going to change it. Not much. Now, I want to take a look at, not today, let's look at tomorrow. We can look at tomorrow and Friday also. So looking at tomorrow, okay, so tomorrow is thin. So by void, here's a void between, all the way down there, between 95 and 75 is a void. Here's a void right here. 60, 40, 60, 60 magnet for tomorrow, either direction. So it looks like we have these five whites here. Here's a little void. So that's kind of what I mean. A dead spot where there's not a lot of expected response or reaction from the dealer. So do I want to sell puts below 6,000? Maybe. But just let's say something crazy happens below 6,000 tomorrow, 60, 70, 59.75 is sort of a void with price heading in that direction. A little bit of a stall here at 65. And then down here below, near 5,900, people are selling. 5,900 is not considered safe. Let's look at Friday. Anyone out there on X? So 60.50 sold. Again, could be straddles that were sold. 6,100 sold for Friday. So, and that's the top of the straddle. The top of the straddle, remember we talked about it? I'll pull it up again. And so you just kind of have to keep all these different things in your mind and mentally balance them. So here's the top of the straddle right here. So it's not unusual for the straddle to be sold, or the strangle rather, the edges of the straddle. So 50, 90, 60, call this 6,100-ish, call this 5,900-ish. So last Friday could have sold both of these and wait. And I did some, I already closed them. Go a few points higher and lower. Look at the gamma distribution, and that's it. And I know the scalpers are going to start yelling boring. Can't torture the data. I can't make up stuff that's not there. The data says that we're stuck here. Okay, so that said, let's look at the juice bar. So what we say below 60, 50, 75. So let's go see. That's not bad. I'll start off with one. I can get another one for 50. I'll take it. Create opposite. 15 cents. Buy to close. What was that? 20 wide. What's going on up on top? 20 wide. That looks okay to me. That's just one DTE for now. Looks like as IV comes down, that the default path is kind of sticky up. And that's it. Anybody have any questions or anybody want to participate? I guess I'm boring my audience. Brad, what are you doing? I don't see any high probability setups here. Would I do an iron fly? That's a good question. Let's take a look. Maybe. Let's take a look. First, let's see what the payout is. Expected move is 12. No, I said that was a potential pin, not a definite pin. We'll go back to that in a minute. So here would be, let's just say, I don't know how wide you go on your flies, but here's a 30 wide fly. So that means, just for those of you that aren't familiar with flies, 30 wide fly is telling us for 13 bucks, let's just call it 14 to make the arithmetic easier, that anywhere between 15 points lower, so anywhere between 60.35 and 60.65 ish, anywhere in here, you're a winner. How much you win? Of course, you can take it off beforehand. So let's get back to the end of the day pin. Let's see what the various paths are. So the pin is going to be if then. And then we'll get back to the fly. So 60-60, yes. If we stay over here 50, then this is actually a very highly probable place for us to stall out. Now it looks like we're heading there, and we can grind higher. Let me see what I got loaded here. My dashboard, Gextrom, basic. It should be zero DTE, right? Customer broker position, zero DTE. Yeah. My range is too tight. 61, 10 range. And we don't need to worry about 59.20 for today. Let's put 59.95 just so we can see the round number. These are customers' positions. So what speaks against the 60/60 pin is all these customers, all this long gamma over here. The pin still looks like it's right in here, right where the hole is. So would I do that fly right now? Maybe. Let me take a look at something else. Right? For this, we don't need to see VIX. Here's the price of the money options. Expect to move 36. When VIX is low and pricing is slow action, how do you decide your DTE? Just a gut feeling? Okay, good question. Partially is gut feeling, partially, especially now. Normally, I wouldn't be selling those 1 DTEs. When we're this extended, I wouldn't be selling the puts if it was just like kind of a random day. However, what am I looking at? I'm looking at a few things. First and foremost, remember we have a big monthly options expiration, so I expect more range compression, just more of this choppy, sloppy action. So the where we are in the options expiration cycle matters. So that's one thing. Let's just do 59.90. That's probably the biggest, one of the biggest determinants. The other thing was I looked at where the 1 DTE positioning was. Another thing that I would use. So if I look at the gamma heat map, that's for today. What does tomorrow look like? So this has all positions in there, factors out today's options, and here's what we have for tomorrow. And we have the supportive stuff near 60, near 6,000. We have potential down into here if things get really unusual. For tomorrow, we have an expected move of 35. And so, what did I sell for tomorrow? So, this is way outside the expected move, way below the positioning that requires market makers to buy. So, that's how I make the determination. I don't mind the question at all. It's a valid question. Now, I might not normally do that. Is somebody impersonating me? I guess see someone saying hi. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, it's Binkus. Oh, okay. There you are. I'm putting you on stage.
Okay. Present.
And hold on, let me just get my screen off, and you can do screen share, and I can go trade and make some gelt options gelt, baby.
I'm going to be quick.
Okay.
Hey, folks. I guess you guys can call me. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're fine. You just need to put your screen up.
Okay. So today's been a good day. If you, my famous indicators here, Delta's been going straight up. Volatility has been dropping, and we caught a lot of these up moves, and then we caught some of the down moves. We've had on my Substack, Binkus, we've had about 6 or 7 trades. Each has made at least $100. We're about $1,000 up today. So you can join my Substack and just shovel in the money. But I'm going to see if I can get you guys a trade right now. So let's see where we're at. So notice that volatility is going up, price is going down. So I like 60 deltas. Right now, let's see if we can get a little reversal and look for a 60 delta put. The 60 delta put is the 55s. Buy them at 990 or better. Let's say we're in at 990 or better. Let's see what happens.
I was just sharing the screen here to show your profitable trades that happened real time right here.
Yep.
Buy 1340, sell at 15.4 or better, out of 15.5. Someone says, wow, amazing, etc. That's kind of shameless plug.
Thank you. So the one we bought for 990 is 1060. Let's see if we can get $11 on it. Come on. Son of a bitch. It's the 1040, 1060. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Volatility is still going up. You see this, guys? Look, see that this tells me the trade is still good. 1080, we said $11. That's what we want. $11. So it would be $110 quick. Now this is beginning to level off, but it's going straight up. Now you could have gotten out, at 1060, 1070. It's 10 now. It's 1070 to 1090. Come on, let's go up a little more. Shit. So now it's sort of turning.
So would you get out now?
I would probably get out about 1050, 1060 when I saw this little wiggle, when I saw this straighten out. But we're still up $20. It's 1010. I'm going to let it sit because, you know me, I'm a pig.
Yeah. See, I would have gotten out, especially when I saw that turn in VIX and that turn in price. I would have gotten out. See, explain to them the VIX and the deltas and what they're seeing.
Okay. Basically, this bright green line is volatility. You want, when volatility goes up, generally price goes down, and this is deltas. When deltas go down, price is going to go down. So right now, that option is 1050. We got in at 990, so you made $60. You don't want to be a hero. You can take the $60, but it's $11. Okay, out. Now it's 1110. Last trade. All right, we made $110. That's how we do it. That's a scalping method that I use. I also use, let me show you what else we use, ladies and gentlemen.
Quick comment, and I'll share screen for a second. Somebody before had asked about the iron fly, and I said it looked decent. This iron fly was 13 and change, 1365. Where's my iron fly here? Right here. Asked about iron fly at 60.50, and it was 13 and change, 1365. I forgot, and now it's 12, whatever it is. So you could have scalped $100. That was 122. And now that's 14 minutes. So it took me we're taking us 14 minutes to make $100. It took you 14 seconds, but I'm an old guy. I don't move as fast as you.
I'm older than you. So let me show you what else we do. This is the other thing we use. This is the overboard. What happened to it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to show. I just wanted to show the where the screen was.
Okay, can you see it? This is the
Yeah.
overboard oversold. So look at this. When this goes this is a 1 minute chart. We're very oversold. Red means selling. Blue means buying. The buying is horrible. The selling is very strong, and nothing goes on forever. So we're waiting for a turn. When this starts to move up, and especially when we cross the zero line, you could get in to buy a call. So now that we had this big down move, I would be waiting to look for a call. So again, I'm a 60 delta guy. So let's just look at the calls. The 60 deltas call would be put us at around, well, the 40s of 67, the 45s of 45. So I'd be looking at a 40 call, because the more in the money you are, the more chance you have making it. And deltas just went down, so we're buying the 40 call at $12. We're in. 40 call, 60-40 call at $12. And we're going to see if we can get 13. Gotta wait, may have to wait a minute, may have to wait a while. Now it's 1170. Paul, what did we say? We can wait at $12, right? We got into it at $12. 60-40 call in at 12. Let me just write that down for myself, because as I'm talking, I don't write. Okay, so what do we see here? Yeah, looking good. What you see here, it looks like we're going to cross over. We want this to start going up, this to start going down. On my other screen, let me just present. Where's the other screen? Remove. And I want to share. Sorry, I'm just share screen. I want to show you. So this is looking good because the deltas are, the deltas are still going up. The vol is going down. So that call, even though we're down $50, I still have confidence in it. And, there's nothing to tell me to get out. It's still looking good, but it's sort of stuck there at 1150. So we're looking for $13. You can still get in. Again, this looks fine. We're going down. Deltas are going up. There's this orange line means put, buy, sell. So people are buying some puts, and they're not buying any calls. It's the calls, but I'm okay. Now we're at 1179, 1160. Sorry it's taking so long. We're 1180. We're 1240. Okay, 1250. We got in at 1250. Come on, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. 1270. $13. We're out at $13. Thank you very much. That was another $100 bill. Are you guys paying attention? Look at that. Now it's $13. Okay, so that's how we do it. And again, you can find me on Binkus at Substack, and we put these trades on live.
It'd be nice if we could get the link somewhere. I don't know if you got it handy. I picked the right one, right?
Well, let me try. Hold on.
See if you and then paste it all the way in the the comments. Let's see. I'm going to challenge your technological expertise here.
Substack. So I go to Substack. I press my face. Oh, okay. I'm gonna.
Meantime, I'm going to put some of the promo stuff in. Did you get a promo link from Juan yet for
Well,
convex value in case people
well,
want to try it?
he's he's reposting some of my stuff. Hold on,
But he
copy.
didn't give you a discount link yet.
No, I'm going to talk to him later. Hold on. Where are we? Oh yeah, here we are. Sorry. I'm going to go back to the SteamYard. I'm going to paste it in the chat. Okay, right? Is that
That's
what?
yeah, down here. You see on your lower right. Let me screen share where the chat is. It should be in the same place for you, I think.
I did it, but it didn't. I just did it under your copy on your document.
Okay. No, I see McGraw. I don't see Binkus.
That's the way it did it. Copy. Wait, copy. Paste.
A lot more nimble at trading, the both of us, than we are at computers. Believe me.
You know what I'm going to do? Let me just share this screen for a second. Stop screen. Present. Share screen.
Oh, and somebody texted me while we were.
Okay, guys, can you see? You can see this. Should I make it bigger? It's Binkus at Binkus 300. I hope you guys can see it. Anyway,
I also put the Options Guild website in there. Somebody asked about about Options Guild.
well, that's going to be both Paul.
Yeah. So as I was saying, somebody texted me and asked me, a subscriber, about the website. So I explained to him, as I will explain to everybody else here, that the website is a work in progress. Some of you might have seen us mentioning it in various places. Right now, it's basically a landing page, and there's the link in case you were curious. And we will eventually have FAQs and resources and all that there. Good stuff is coming up. We have somebody that we consulted with over the weekend that has some ideas on how to build it out and how to make it, something valuable for everybody. Eventually, of course, we will be combining this as one package, or there may be a Binkus, a Pinkus, and a Options Geld option. We're not exactly sure how we're gonna tier it, tiered levels. We'll figure it out. But it's basically going to be one thing at the end of the day.
The premium will probably be all of my content and all of Doc's content, which will give you a really, really great opportunity to do lots and lots of scalp day trades. We're going to come up with various trades that might be a little more long-term, risk reversals, all sorts of trades. And clearly you'll get Doc's unbelievable analysis of gamma and various hedging positions. And we have a lot in store. I'm working a lot of my stuff, which involves multiple trade station indicators that are very obscure, that are very helpful, and some stuff from Metastock and all kinds of interesting things. And of course, my patented scalping technique.
Now, from Binkus, you'll also be getting more like longer term kind of thing, like stocks above their 20-day, 50-day kind of broad market sort of stuff that I don't really do.
Yeah,
and also macro stuff. When something's going on in the bond market, I have a bit of an idea. I ask him to explain it to me. He's my big brother, so he explains it to me. So you'll get some of that stuff. And in terms of longer term stock trades, we're going to be throwing that in a little bit. Quick story. Let me just tell a quick story. So back in the day, it was a 1980 census. I was staying with my brother, living in his place. He was, I don't know if he was a resident, an MD yet, whatever it was. And he introduced me to Value Line. And Value Line is an investment service that's still around, that I still buy, that I still do longer term trades based on fundamentals. Um, at that time, I'll start up with this. He had his rule of six. A stock had to be trading at a PE multiple of six or better or less, with a dividend of 6%, or he wasn't even interested in looking at it.
Right. Now I'm gonna try to put something up here from my other computer. I'm gonna do it as a snip, and I'm gonna see if I can send it over to you guys and show you the kind of long-term stuff that I like to look at. Okay, now I'm gonna paste this. Too bad, because I'm using other computers. Paste. Just give me a second. I hope you guys aren't getting bored. Okay, now there we go. So now I'm going to get my Teams up here, and I'm going to make this big. And now I'm going to share my. You see the screen, guys? You're going to get stuff like this, which seems to be boring, but it's not. Let me explain to you what you're looking at. What you're looking at is one of my very long-term indicators, which is a weekly RSI, which is right over here. And these are some big stocks we're looking at. This is XAR, this is NVIDIA, this is Apple, this is Disney, this is SPY, this is Tesla, this is the Qs, and this is IWM. Basically, I find that if you buy when the weekly RSI hits this number, that's a bottom, and you wait to sell it somewhere up around here. Again, you get a feel for these, which really go well over their high RSI, which get overbought, which sort of even out at this level. But anyway, this kind of stuff for your long term, for swing trading, is very helpful. And we're going to be putting up stuff like this too. But again, lots of interesting things. All right.
So we got a comment here. I don't know if you see it on the screen there. It said, bro, that scalp trade was phenomenal. Mentor me, please, Binkus. So,
We're going to have mentoring too. We're going to have mentoring.
yeah, we're going to have mentoring too. We're just figuring out. This has kind of started as we were doing our usual schmoozing. You know what? We've actually talked about this for years.
Right.
Why don't we? We see what other people do, and we could do that better than them.
Right.
And so here we are.
And we can do it for less money.
Now, the other thing I want to say about Pincus's stuff, aside from the RSI and everything else that he has, I don't know if you have it handy, your stocks above their 20-day and their 50-day and all that stuff. He has all these macro-y kind of market type indicators from back in the day when like longer term trading or whatever was more in vogue. And I don't know if you have anything like that you want to share now. I said, what's that going up? Is that VIX going up there?
Yeah, it's VIX going up, and look at the market. We went down. Okay, look at it. This was a setup. We were bullshitting, but this was like money in the bank. When you saw this delta starting to drop and the VIX starting to go up, you just buy puts. That's that simple.
Just buy a 60 delta put and close your eyes.
And close your eyes, pick a price target. And this is from Convex Value. And we're going to try to work out a deal with Convex Value so our subscribers can get it. And I'm going to tell you how to set it up. And once they teach you how to fish, you can do your own fishing. So I will clearly put some bait on your fishing rod if you want, just for fun. All right, that's one of the mentors. It's what I'm using now is this plus, let me show you what else I'm using. Again, it's this plus my secret sauce.
Oh, you 130 levels.
Yeah, I put them up.
Hold on. Let me share it for the crowd. Hold on.
Yeah, I put them up.
So here's 130 levels. Now this is based on, he'll tell you more. It's based on Kirk Northington's using volatility bands for
And ATRs, volatility and ATRs plus price movement. It's a complex sort of thing. But if you want to buy his book, you can go and read it. But
and for those of you that actually know how to write programs, you could actually do it yourself, but he had somebody write it for him because he and I could barely type, let alone write a program.
Right. So what this tells me, and this is how I use it, these are the levels that should not be breached by the close. In other words, we should not close above 60.65 or below 6,017. That doesn't mean that we might not get above 665 intraday, or we won't get below the 17 intraday. But
I thought it said 665.
I said 60,
Okay.
65, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going, while you're talking, I have confidence in his levels. I always do one for fun on his stuff.
I mean, we sold on my thing earlier in the morning. We sold the 80. We sold the 80 6110 calls for like 60 cents early in the morning, and it's evaporated to nothing, basically. That was me looking at sort of guessing my levels early, which you're not supposed to, but I do that. But right now, yeah, so based on my levels, the trade would be, I mean, I think the puts are money good. So the 05s, the 60.05 puts, yeah, I just like to give myself 5 points of leeway. So the 60.05.
So what I just did, I put in a few iron condors at different prices and one filled. So now you're building out the puts. Go ahead, talk about the puts now.
So I'm looking at a 6,005, 59.75 at 70 cents. I would sell
an 05 and where you're going on the bottom, you like to go 30 wide, right?
30 wide.
Okay, so I'm going to do one of those two.
So and you could buy that back at 20 cents or let it go. Now it's 68 cents.
Okay. So I'm going to do a similar one for 65 cents because he likes to get every penny out of it. Close enough is close enough.
Well, me, if I say I want 60, if I want 70, I will die before I give 65.
So funny story, and this is true. You guys are going to laugh. Sometimes, we also have a guy that we have family money with, whatever, and we might be on the phone with him, and we're talking about whether it could be an option trade or a stock trade. It doesn't matter. Let's just say I'll arbitrarily say Google, and Google is 1740 now, and we want to buy some. I'll say, all right, give me 300 Google here at this price. He'll go a dollar lower, 50 cents lower, or lose the trade, or selling an option. He'll hang out for the 3 cents below the bid or the bust, and I'll say, fine, give it to me at the market.
It's a matter of principle. Sometimes it's more fun getting a bargain than making money. But no, seriously. Yeah, well, now that guy is 77 cents because we went down. I still have pretty good confidence that we'll hold at 60. What did I say was 60.17, and we sold 10 points below it. It's okay.
Okay, so a lot of puts closed here, filled. So let me put in my buy to close stuff here. Okay, so opposite, I got 130.
I'm going to tell my subscribers to sell this put at 95 cents now. So you'll excuse me for a second. Okay. Just,
And I have my buy to closes in. I'll eventually try to put into close and manage them separately, but right now I just have everything in like this so that it, okay, so here's the two Binkers trades, the 30 wides, 50% profit is right here. So let me just cancel this,
59.
cancel order. Not investment advice. You're just watching a couple of guys trade. That's all.
This is just for educational and entertainment value.
And I think the entertainment value is worth more than the education. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, and Doc isn't even as funny as he usually could be. He's very, very amusing. I'm telling my folks I just sold it at 90, and I'm telling my folks to buy it back at 45, or let it expire like this. Because who knows, right?
Yeah, and I filled them at different prices. I did some iron conduits, which I normally don't do. I normally do each leg separately. I just did them to get it in, just so that we can have something to talk about.
Yeah, well, again, we spoke about this yesterday, but I can tell you that on the spreads, we sell the call spreads on the way up, and we sell the put spreads on the way down. You don't have to just do both sides at the same time. Okay? Someone is telling me on my thread that if you can start with the date and stay under one thread, maybe also start a chat thread for people to post comments. I don't know how to do any of that crap.
Yeah. I love you, brother. I tried showing it 16 times. So I'm going to walk you through it here, live, real time. What you do?
Wait, let me minimize this and go back. Let me go back to.
So what's going on there, folks? In case you're on there doing this, let me find. Okay, direct. Okay, so you go to all first of all, chat, and see Binker's subscriber chat.
Yep. Okay, I'm not just watching you.
Okay, so what you keep doing is creating a new thread every time. You know what the simplest thing is? Don't click and respond to people like that, because you end up creating new threads accidentally. Just you said buy back at 45 cents. This guy asks you a comment,
Right.
maybe whatever. Just answer him without doing this, because then he answers you, and you end up with.
So just keep it on the same thread?
Yeah, just keep it on the same thing. If you want to answer him directly,
go to direct.
Either go to direct or like this guy, David, who's very active on both of ours, who said join Docker. If I wanted to tell him something, I would just do it this way. I would just tag him, if I can find him here. David.
Wow, the vol has really went up.
So you do it like that. Okay, so this is probably not very doesn't make great TV.
All right, yeah, let the folks aboard.
All right, now let me I'm gonna jump to Gamma Schmamma land.
I'm gonna say goodbye, and we'll be back tomorrow. Or not tomorrow. Tomorrow I actually have to go somewhere early in the day. I think Friday I will be around all day, and I think Doc, maybe we'll set something up Friday for everyone, okay?
Speaking of Friday, so tomorrow I'm flying to Boston. I have to probably leave at 2 or 3. My son They got him and his fiance. They have a new house. I'm going to see the new house, and then Friday, so that's Thursday. I'll be there this weekend, but I'll bring my laptop, so I'll still be trading. They work. They're like kids. Um, and then Friday, I have Vol Signals, the former market maker who runs that service, who I took his mentorship class. I took his VIP class. Um, he will be on at 10:30 to give you all this from a market maker's point of view. A lot of what I tell you, I've learned from him. I've had other mentors, Gamma Edge, Paul Duncan. He agreed to come on and explain his secret sauce. So we had Vol Trader on this morning, who's a former market maker, telling you how he looks at skew. So there'll be all this random educational stuff coming on. Being the OGs, we have people here that are additional resources. Go ahead, Bart. You want to say something?
Did something just happen? Because we're really dropping like a rocket and vol is exploding. Is there any news? Does anyone out there been following the news? We just dropped like really pretty strong.
I see that.
I'm just curious. I mean, it could just be trading nonsense. I don't know. Because again, I usually don't listen to news while I do this because you get distracted and sucked into BS that means nothing. But this is quite an interesting.
Anybody got Twitter handy? Well, I'm going to look at Twitter and see if I can find anything. Walter Bloomberg is usually good.
I'm going to get off.
White House, Trump will have quite a few. I don't really see anything here.
Then it's all.
Anybody see any news out there?
It's like where we're down almost 15 S&P points.
Yeah. Financial Juice to see if they have anything.
And the Nasdaq really took a beating.
Oh, here, U.S. federal budget balance. So, okay, it's the macro bros again.
Well, what do they say?
You tell me what this means better than I can tell you what it means.
Read it to me because I can't read it from there.
Okay, I guess put it in there, and I'll copy the.
It's too small to read.
Here. What it's. I'm putting it in.
In the chat?
It's in the chat here, and I'll also put it on the screen.
U.S. federal budget balance actual is $316 billion. Forecast $314 billion. Wow. Okay, so the budget is out of control. That's nothing new, which means that people that buy U.S. bonds is a sucker's game. So we just saw a slight tick up. Treasuries were going down, yields were going down. Now we just had a slight uptick in the yield on the 10-year Treasury. So look.
They're spending money like drunken sailors.
I'm going to show you guys something.
I'm going to get off the screen. Go ahead.
Go out and buy this book. Ray Dalio has been telling everyone.
What's it called?
How Countries Go Broke. It just came out in June 1st. This explains the whole problem we have with our federal debt, and the politicians should all go to hell. They kick the can down the road, and the road is going to end soon. That's all I'm saying. The debt is out of control. We're going to spend over $1 trillion just on interest this year. But that's just interest. If the yields stay where they are, I mean, don't get me started. But anyway, that's what that's all about. So
let's watch for reaction here, because that was just the algos getting their panties in a twist.
I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to look for some business for my followers again. Binkus on Substack, and eventually it's going to be option scale with both of us together, and you're going to get a great deal. We're going to, once we announce our pricing, I think, Doc, wouldn't you say that the pricing is going to be the best price if you get it at the bottom? If you get in when we announce?
Yeah, well, we haven't figured out, but when we announce, we're going to offer, get in now kind of pricing while,
before before
Go ahead.
people realize how good we are. Okay, catch you later. Enjoy. Bye. It was a pleasure. Take care.
Okay, and so I want to see what's going on here. I'm trying to sell some more puts for tomorrow. Let's see where we are. Entire screen. Let's see where we are. Share. Count me in for mentorship, Brad. Okay. And maybe we'll start with a mentorship class of 5 or so we can give people individual attention. And we'll kind of figure out the timing on that. So where are we? 60/20. Now, okay, that's I don't think that's a 0 DTE. Let me see where we are. 0 DTE. Okay. So there, Brad, there's your 60/20. And we bounced right off of it. Brad was in the chat earlier, was talking about 60/20 was kind of like a support kind of line. Now we have these magnets down here at 60/10. No bueno. So let's see what's going on in the positioning. Our customers long these 60/20 puts, that's the magnet. Customers along the 60/05 puts. So these either decay up or we get sucked underneath and we get back to 6,000. Let's take a look at what's going on here. I got to decide what I want to do with those Binkus bands. So now, obviously, the Binkus bands can't predict a federal account thing, and that's my bad for not seeing that that news item was coming up. But I think we're fine. If you sold those puts, I think you're fine. If we get trapped below here, we're in trouble. It's stirs. But over here, supportive toward the end of the day, where the traps, has one potential trap, 12, right below this 15 level, one potential over here at 25. And then we could easily get, if I weren't busy doing this, since we were already down here, I would have looked to grab a cheap fly with the center somewhere over here. These already be too expensive. I still might look for a cheap fly somewhere up here. Part of the reason they call me McGraw was a former TA mentor. I've told the story before. We'd be doing something like this on screen share, and he might be looking at whatever. Let's just say this. He might say, okay, if we get over 60/30, buy. And then we get over 60/30. He goes, okay, we're in. And I would say, no, I already went in when you said if we get over. So I was always quick draw McGraw. I was quick to get in, also quick to get out. And as you see, that's kind of instinct, I guess. I don't know what it is. Um, could have grabbed a nice quick little scalp point, couple points. Let's see what's going on over here. Overnight low, we kind of undercut it. That 60/20 thing we've been talking about all day. Yesterday, 60/20, if you were on this, was once we got to 60/20, it became the 60/20, 60/35 battle zone. And then we managed to get over that 30/35. And then Charm pushed us up. And now we're trying to find the level here. So let's take a quick look at VIX 17. Why is VIX 17 important? Now we go back to my buddy Gamma Edge. One of my friends, this young kid, called me this morning. I hadn't spoken to him for a long time. He trades GameStop. He makes money on it. These kids make money on GameStop. What can I tell you? And that's why I had GME up. And so why is that 17 important? Well, take a look right here. We got all these puts at 17. So that's an inflection point. Under 17, market makers have to short futures, which they were when we were down at whatever we were at, when we were at 16.5, whatever it was, over, then they start getting rid of the short. So part of this was also an adjustment to that. So we had a number of things going on at the same time here. I like the landscape view. They have some cool toys. Here's the landscape view. And so here's kind of what we got to get over. And, it's hanging in the balance. Would I bet the farm that we're going to hold here? Well, I don't know. I have a few contracts that I'm sitting with. I'm just going to hold them. I'm short puts down here. Obviously, the calls are fine. See all these calls closed? That these tails means closing. So let's see what's going on here. Zero DTE markers. Okay, this is all this down here stuff. Don't need. I haven't looked at this screen for a while. So this is calls. So let's go 59.95. Just so we see one strike below the money. Let's go up to 61.05. So we see that big 6100. So obviously there's no. So here's what was closing out. Whatever these short calls were closing out. 60.40, 550 is closing out. Let's see what's going on the put side. How do we join your brother's Discord? I'll make sure that you have the link. Well, actually, right now, text DM me your email. Right now, we have a deal where if you subscribe to me, you get comped for him for until we merge the services. And if you subscribe to him, you get comped to me. If you subscribe to me, you get comped to him. So right now we have a special deal. So just send me the DM me your email so I know. And apparently it turns out I'm the back end admin. Somehow that happened. It's a sad world when I'm the back end admin. It just doesn't look great. I'm not going to lie. This does not look great. How would we, okay? Good question again. Let me do this for a second. What on Substack? What's your name or whatever you want to call it? Hold on one second. Oh shit! Fuck. Pardon my French. One of my buddies called me. He sold puts. He's probably shitting in his pants. 59.70. 61.05. Gotta just take it slow. 60.08. No, this looks pretty serious. Okay. Gotta decide what to do here. Give it a little time. So is Boomer Trade your name on Boomer Dan? Okay. So I'm gonna DM you. How do I Boomer Dan? I'm not sure how to do this myself, I'll tell you the truth. Boomer, you're on mine, right? And Boomer, Dan, there you are. Okay. Message, okay. DM me your email. Okay. Then from here, I'll be able to figure it out. Yeah, big decision here at 6,000. Let me see what's going on here. That's looking ugly. Looking ugly. Let's just see what's going to happen. Might close something, might not. I let's look at the data. 6009. We got this. We're trapped under here for now. So what's going to tell the tale is if IV goes down. I mean, 6,000 might be a landing spot. 6,000 might be a landing spot. I have a feeling though that we get right back above here, and it's going to take a little work. So what I want to see is when do these people close these puts? We got all these long puts here. When do they close them? Do they close them? Do call buyers step up? All right, so Boomer Dan, I'll take care of that. I'll make sure that you get taken care of. Yeah, I think 6K is going to hold. And let me just text my friend that called me, uh, kind of panicking a little bit. I'll tell you. And it looks good. Actually, what I'm going to look at is, I mean, there's a juice down below 5,900. See if that fills. Below 5,900 is kind of stealing, and there's the bounce as expected. And so, how would I manage these positions? People ask me sometime. Now, I'm not going to pull up everything, but one thing I might do, let's say I was worried about the 59.45 for tomorrow. Let's just say I could do a few things. One, I could buy a debit spread inside the credit spread. So now the worst thing that could happen is if it go from 45, then at 40, I'm long. So that turns this basically into a blocker. So it lessens my exposure from 1,500 to 500 minus the credit received. And I could always sell this or do that. What I like doing instead is doing something like this and turning it into kind of a fly, something like that. Actually, I'll turn it into a fly. Let's do that. And I can kind of work with that later. Does that make sense? How you turn it into a fly? Now the the real way, the official way would be to make it all equidistant. But I'm happy turning it into a broken wing fly for now. This is for tomorrow, 59.50. I don't think we're getting there. It's only a few contracts, so I'm not really worried about it. Put in my buy to close here. Got 50 cents, 25 cents. All right, now it's time to wait and see how the dust settles. And for that, let's just go back to a regular normal chart. See, VIX is going nuts, 1750. That's the story. VIX is going nuts. Look at that. We bounced off at 6,000. I wasn't really watching price. Anybody watching over there on X? Or is this all YouTube? If you were nimble going along off of 6,000 back to 60.20, let me, so I could see here was the overnight low. I'm not sure why I might have two things here. So week to date range low was all the way down here. Here was the bottom of the expected move from the straddle price. And we're kind of trying to find some sort of footing here. Okay, you're watching on that. Thanks for letting me know. How's the broadcast quality on X? Yeah, I never kind of watched. Okay. See, look at that. Beautiful. Let's go back to, let's look at something else. Mean reversion bands. Okay, so we're way out of the mean reversion bands. So again, we should sort of revert back up into this zone. Should, in theory, but volatility is just when you get these news-driven vol spikes and the algos start getting nutty, it's hard to say. I suppose I'm not surprised that federal balance thing was so bad. Now it looks like now, after the macro bro algos got done doing what they're doing, the gamma and all that hopefully will be taking over. So volatility expanding is what's causing a lot of these issues because let me, rather than looking at position number, now it'll be important to look at gamma because that's going to change based on volatility where position number is something static. Okay, this is on gamma, good. We don't need 6130 anymore. Let's just keep 05 just to be. I see there's that magnet we got attracted to. And we talk about that magnet, we have double magnets right here, the 10 and the 20. Got 0 DT, okay, that's fine. And options depth, Elias is going to be on. I'm not sure when he said he's going to be on to be able to walk you through the platform. For all I know, he said today, and I missed it. See, now we're between these two magnets. I mean, there is something that potentially is pulling us down to 6,000. I don't think we get there. I think people close. Oh, so my buddy just texted me. I'm not sure how accurate it is. He's Israeli, and he said Israel is planning to attack Iran within the next 48 hours. I'm not sure how he knows. Right now, the market's in this decision zone here. Anybody in any trades or looking at anything that they want to chat about? Where are we? Right between these two? 60-15, right in the middle. We got all this stuff below here that's supposed to hold. Now we're kind of trapped by this 25 on top. So this kind of becomes kind of a ceiling for now. So over 25 is when we could move. And for it to get over 25, IV vol has to come down. As IV increases, deltas inflate, and what that ends up doing, the best way I could describe it, is that the lines between the 20 delta and the 15 delta, the 60-20 and the 60-15 and the 60-10, all those deltas expand. And so the amount of hedging kind of overlaps. The volatility increases, so the range that the market makers have to hedge in it becomes less sharp. I'll let Vol Siggs explain it when he's on tomorrow. When he explains it, it makes perfect sense. Okay, we still have this magnet down here. Nothing pretty here. Could land at 6,000. All right, it's 2:30. I'm going to sign off. I'll try to come back at 3:30 for the end of the day. Before I sign off, if anybody did any of those trades, the Binkers trades or anything else and wants to talk about managing them, before I get off, I'll talk about it live on TV, so to speak. Now below the 60-10, now that becomes problematic. Thank you, Doc. Okay, everybody, have fun. I'm gonna go see what's going on.